in India who has PCOS will really resonate with this. You're just jumping from one doctor to the next without ever really getting a resolution. That's where, really the idea for Veera Health came about. Can we have one place that is scientific, that is empathetic, where we can work directly with all of these different doctors and experts to give the best clinically proven care. A lot of people struggle with that decision to leave a full-time job and start something on their own. But I think
we did.
Yeah, but you really need to find something that you're passionate about. For a majority of these supplements, they say RDA values based on a sedentary man, not woman.
So they literally just take the white bottle and then put a pink label on it and market it to us.
When you're taking these supplements without realizing how hormone disruptive they are and how much of harm they're doing to your body. Financial health and health, it's the same thing. You have to invest early enough and you'll see the returns later in life and you'll be so thankful you did that. Every day, 20% of your time needs to be spent on thinking about how do I improve my wellness today, and really incorporate supplementation into your diet. As Indian women, we don't get the nutrients that we need from our diet at all.
We definitely don't.
Why aren't they teaching us about nutrition in school? Why aren't they teaching you that, these are the nutrients you need to have? This is how to make your own.
Just like how they're not teaching you about finance in school.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. This is just kept away as a secret, locked away knowledge. And by the time you decide that you need to learn about it, it's a little late in the game.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Happy Hour with Fin Cocktail. Today we have with us the CEO and founder of Veera Health, which is a health and supplement company especially for women, backed by Y Combinator and Sequoia Capital. Shashwata has spent over a decade in the financial services industry where she's worked with McKinsey and Goldman Sachs, after which she's helped lakhs of women overcome hormonal and health-related issues like PCOS, weight loss, etc. She is an advocate of women's health and wellness, and we'd love to pick her brain on how we can take care of our health better. So let's welcome Shashwata. Hi Shashwata, welcome to the show. We're so glad you could make it.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
So excited.
It's so fun to see Siley again after years and years of high school.
Too long.
Yeah, you look the same.
I'm so glad.
So something is working in your health and wellness journey.
So first things first, Shashwata, tell us what really sparked your interest in women's health and how did you transition from working a corporate job at McKinsey, I believe, into starting your own wellness brand?
Yeah, so jumping into health and wellness has been a long time coming, but has felt like a very, very natural transition for me. So I grew up in Bombay. I went to the US at a pretty early age. When I was 18, I went to Yale for my undergrad. And I think that was the time when I first started to realize that, and I think that's the time where most women realize that they don't know enough about their own health and how to take care of themselves, right? When they're 17, 18, they move to a different city, they're maybe, in a different college or work setting. And I think that's when I first started to realize how underprepared I was with my health journey, right? What sort of vaccines should I be getting? I mean, I'm in college, I'm an 18-year-old. How do you prepare for, getting older? For a lot of women, how do you prepare for getting sexually active, right? There's all these questions that pop up and nobody has educated you enough on this. So that's where it initially started. Then I spent several years working in investment banking at Goldman Sachs. I got my MBA from Wharton after that and then joined McKinsey as a consultant where I was focused on consumer and healthcare. So that was kind of a little bit of a round circle for me because I realized that within the healthcare industry at the time, there was a lot of shift happening towards this focus on health and wellness, but not enough happening in women's health, right? This was also just pre-COVID, where there were a lot of telehealth companies popping up and a lot of focus on how do you get healthier, but nobody's talking about issues like PCOS and hormonal health and, women's reproductive health. No one's really having these conversations. The research is very limited. Around the same time, my sister, who actually is now my co-founder, also got diagnosed with PCOS. And she had a lot of these symptoms around weight gain, anxiety, mental health stuff, irregular periods. And she just had a terrible journey of it. With PCOS, I think any woman in India who has PCOS will really resonate with this. You're just jumping from one doctor to the next without ever really getting a resolution, right? You go to a gynecologist, she sees you for maybe 10 minutes at most. She puts you on birth control or tells you to go lose weight.
Yeah.
Birth control is like the first.
And exercise.
Yeah.
Everyone just says you're
Just
not
go
working out
exercise.
enough. Just exercise, eat right.
Yeah. And then, they've
then
washed
birth
their
control
hands off
pills,
you,
bas.
or birth control pills. They'll ask you to come back in 3 months, but let's be honest, how many people actually go back and see that doctor, right? Most people will stop taking those pills on their own. Separately, my sister was also going to a dermatologist, a therapist, all of these different experts, none of whom were actually talking to each other. So that's where, really the idea for Veera Health came about. Can we have one place that is scientific, that is empathetic, where we can work directly with all of these different doctors and experts to give the best clinically proven care? So, when we first started, I decided to quit my job at McKinsey because, at the time I just felt like this is, this
Your
will be my
calling.
life's work,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
this is what I feel so passionately about furthering women's health, about spreading education, awareness, and then taking it a step further and actually solving all of these issues with all of our treatment programs and our supplements. So it was a very, in a way, it was a very easy decision. I know a lot of people struggle with that decision to leave a full-time job and start something on their own. But I
know
think
we did.
We did.
yeah, but you really need to find something that you're passionate about that makes you, I will talk about this topic for 4 hours if you give me the chance, So that is that moment where you realize that you can actually do this and start something on your own.
I mean, we've been talking about what we quit our jobs for 4 years. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, and you guys have done an amazing job with Fin Cocktail.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
Kudos-
much.
Kudos on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did this name come about?
I was about
Veera
to
Health.
ask.
Yeah, Veera Health. So it actually means brave. Veera, the word.
Yeah.
You've heard of Veer.
Yeah.
It's usually said in a male context.
Yeah.
So we wanted to put a different lens on brave by adding that A at the end and making
Nice.
it slightly more feminine. And it means brave, courageous. You're willing to really go out there and figure out what's good for your health and have a brave stance about it.
Nice. I like it.
Amazing.
You mentioned that your co-founder is your sister, right?
Yes.
So we get this question asked a lot, that a lot of people assume that we're sisters. We're not. We're friends for years. Almost siblings, but not really. What's it like working with your sister? How did that transition go? Do you fight a lot like you used to at home?
It's the best thing ever. I would highly recommend. Maybe this is something people need to, maybe it's a very personal thing, like everyone's relationship with their sibling is different.
Yeah.
But for Shobhita and me, we work extremely well together. We have very complementary skill sets. She comes with a lot of that scientific background. She's worked at United Healthcare, she's worked at payers, providers. So she brings in that expert lens to Veera. And she's very detail oriented, she's very much a perfectionist. Whereas I, of course, bring that business, marketing, strategy background. And I'm a little bit more like high level, big picture, let's do, I'll give the 80% of the vision, but I'm not necessarily the person to go to for 100% correctness. So that works really well. And I think personality wise, we've always been really close. I never thought I would get this opportunity to be so close to her and work so closely with her. But this, Veera Health has been a blessing that way.
That's amazing. Same thing for us. I think the complementary skill sets is very important. Otherwise, you kind of step on each other's toes and that
Yeah.
doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But it's very rare to find that.
Yeah.
Like
We-
friends, siblings, everything.
Yeah, we do have fights. I mean, I'm sure.
No, of course.
You got to.
There will be
Otherwise, you're not doing your job right.
arguments.
Yeah.
There will be arguments, but I think you learn from it and you
Yeah.
figure out how to do a better
Manage
job
that.
going forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Shashwata, I believe that when you started Veera Health, it was just about educating women about PCOS, different healthcare issues. And from there, you've sort of transitioned into selling products related to women's wellness. How did that transformation happen? And what were the few challenges that you faced along the way?
Yeah. So Veera Health, just like most other startups will find, has gone through this evolution of trying to figure out what is the best way to be there for women when they're having, PCOS or weight gain or hair fall, any kind of, health issues that they're going through. So when we first started, we launched as a subscription treatment program for PCOS, right? So we have an app that brings together the gynecologist, the nutritionist, mental health, dermatology, everything together, where you're working through the app with all of these experts to treat your PCOS month over month. So it's very high engagement. You're not having to physically go to the clinic and see all of these different people separately. They're all working with each other on this treatment, right? So it's not like gynac ne kuch bola hai, and then,
Somebody else
dermat
is
is doing
something,
something else. Yeah, nutritionist has prescribed something else. They're all working together in one place. Now, this program did extremely well, and we are one of the only companies that actually have research published in top American scientific journals. We've actually reversed PCOS for lakhs and lakhs of women around the world. So that worked really well, and then we launched something else on hormonal weight gain, because a lot of women don't realize that it's actually harder for us to lose weight as compared to men, because there's so much more going on with our hormones, with our reproductive system, our mental health. All of this is connected. It was around that time that we realized that the treatment programs are working really well, and it's great that we're able to help women with these chronic issues, but how do we stop them from happening in the first place, right? So can we look a little bit earlier in that wellness journey? Can we help women avoid these chronic issues? Because by the time you have PCOS, you're at a level where maybe you're trying to conceive, you're trying to lose a whole bunch of weight. It's a little bit, you've already gotten diabetes, right? PCOS is very similar to diabetes in a lot of ways. You've already gotten diabetes. Now all you can do is manage it. You can't cure it. So best thing is to stop it from happening in the first place. So that's when we started looking into supplements, right? A lot of care providers and doctors don't even know that now there is so much amazing research around natural latest ingredients that can help prevent us from getting to a place with these hormonal problems. So there's things like myo-inositol. Myo-inositol is naturally occurring. It treats all your symptoms of PCOS. It helps in weight loss, and it's also really good for improving fertility if people are trying to conceive. So we've had, there's this one story of a woman that's just so inspiring to me. She had PCOS for years and years. She came to us after not having her period for almost 6 months. At the time she was 34, lots of pressure from in-laws to conceive, but PCOS makes it very difficult. She wanted to give us one last shot before going into IVF, right? Which is very expensive for a lot of women,
Absolutely.
right? IVF is lakhs and lakhs of money for every cycle. Most women have to go through several cycles before it actually
And it's not even
works.
easy, it's hard on you, on your body, on your mental health.
Yeah,
everything.
you're injecting yourself with hormones. I mean, that's, it has a huge mental health impact. So she came to us, and within 9 months of doing this holistic program and supplementing her with myo-inositol, which has now become our bestseller PCOS support supplement, she conceived.
Oh, wow.
And we have these beautiful pictures that she shared with us of this little, beautiful
That's
baby that
amazing.
she now
So
has.
nice.
And I think that's when the shift happened for us, that, these products, these supplements can make a huge difference in helping people even coming to that stage. So now we have our PCOS support supplement. We have something for hair fall, for skin radiance, for weight loss, and, we're just expanding more and more here.
That's great. That's incredible. So, now I'm somebody who's, touch wood, not diagnosed with PCOS. I try to take care of my health. This last year only I've just focused on just taking care of myself. So I'm trying to do the whole, shebang about eating right and exercising and taking my vitamins and minerals and all of that. So I heard I've been hearing on Instagram, maybe Veera Health, may not be on their page, but just go check it out. That the vitamins that we're taking, let's say I'm taking calcium, I'm taking B12, I'm taking fish oil, and let's say magnesium at night. But the vitamins that I'm taking just off the shelf from a medical store are not made for my body. They're made, let's say 90% of the research is done on men, or 100%, I'm not sure. But all the research is done on men. Their dosage is according to men and their hormones and their kind of physique. How true is that? And what do I do then?
It's 100% true. It's really unfortunate, but most supplements, even some of the biggest brands are researched on and made for men and then simply marketed to women. And the easy way that you can tell this is actually turn the bottle ka label around. There's usually a nutrition table with all the nutrition facts. And we're required to report what is the regular daily allowance, the RDA level for whatever ingredients are in your supplement. You'll see that for a majority of these supplements, they say RDA values based on a sedentary man, not woman. Essentially, what that means is that you are being given quantities of those ingredients that would be appropriate for a man, not for a woman. And this was mind-blowing to me as well, right? I've been taking our PCOS support supplement for a long time. I used it to conceive very successfully. I started taking hair fall supplement after I had hair fall post-conception, post-delivery. And I think the hair fall supplement I was taking it had biotin, which is an important ingredient for hair fall, that was in a quantity 3 times more than what is recommended for women.
Wow.
This is crazy. 3 times higher biotin levels in supplements is really bad for women because it can trigger hormonal imbalances in us. So if you're having such a big quantity, it means that this brand hasn't done the research on women specifically. They're just making things for men and marketing it to women.
So they literally just like take the white bottle and then put a pink label on it and market it to us.
100%.
Same thing.
100%. And they'll just add a little for men and women, and then it's marketed to you, and you're taking these supplements without realizing how hormone disruptive they are and how much of harm they're doing to your body.
Even like those 1-a-day women's supplements, etc. So they may not be for us.
So the women's supplements you need to be a little bit more careful about because, they say women's supplements, but you should definitely go look at the nutrition label at the back. Is it based on that RDA for women? At Veera, every single thing we make is something that I put into my own body and my sister puts into her own body. So we are very demanding with what is in these ingredients. All of our boxes, if you turn the box around, it says RDA based on women, right? And that's what you want to be having. Why should you have something where I was taking a sleep supplement that had, most sleep supplements have melatonin, which is a natural hormone that helps you sleep better. I was taking this sleep supplement that had 4 times the amount of melatonin that women should be consuming in just one
what
serving.
happens? I want to know, if I'm consuming 4 times more than what I'm supposed to, what does it do to my body? Does it make me more sleepy? Does it not make me sleepy at all?
So the immediate impact will be that it'll make you very, very sleepy.
Okay.
But over a longer period of time, what it will do is it will reduce your body's natural production of melatonin.
So
you'll always need that supplement to be able to fall asleep quickly.
Yeah, because now you're just putting such a big amount of melatonin in your body that you are going to become dependent on this external supplementation instead of starting at the right dosage for women where your body can slowly adjust to sleeping better and adjust to that melatonin level. So that's a really bad thing for your overall hormones also, because if one hormone goes out of whack, right? Melatonin is a hormone. It's a very delicately balanced chemistry, right? If one thing goes completely crazy, all your other hormones, insulin levels, testosterone levels, progesterone, estrogen, everything goes out of whack. So it's a delicate balance we need to maintain for women, and that's why at Veera, we always say that all of our supplements are hormone safe. They are not hormone disruptive.
Nice.
Okay, very interesting.
Even for example, now the vitamins that I'm taking, if they come in those basic silver packaging, I don't think they even have all that nutritional information at the back.
Yeah, the regular daily allowance, what she mentioned, I don't even think most packets have that info.
Exactly. And this industry is not very well regulated. So unfortunately, the people who lose out the most are women, and especially women who are not aware about what they're putting into their bodies. So I always am a big advocate of turn the label around, read what is on the nutrition labels. Everybody has access to ChatGPT now.
Yeah.
You're watching videos like these on the internet all the time. So get educated and understand what is it that you're putting in your body. Is it natural? Is it artificial? Is it good for you or not?
Absolutely. You mentioned something about postpartum. Now, I've had a baby 2 years ago. He's not a baby anymore, he's a toddler. But, ever since, it's been a very, very uphill climb to just sort of lose that weight, get back into shape, get the kind of skin that I had when I was pregnant. not deal with hair fall. So many hormonal changes, right? Postpartum.
Totally.
So how does one deal with this? Like, do I need to take like 10 different supplements to just sort of be able to help me get back in shape, get better skin, get my normal hair back?
You do not need to take 10 different supplements. So I hope you're not doing that. But yeah, postpartum, even for me, I have a 1.5-year-old. It's always a tough journey, right? Every woman goes through her own postpartum issues. Someone's trying to lose weight. In my case, I was trying to lose weight. I was also having hormonal hair fall. I didn't have too much of the postpartum depression piece, but that is also something a lot of women
Right,
struggle
a lot
with.
of women struggle with that.
So I personally took Sculpt, which is one of our supplements meant to help weight loss. It is actually completely plant-based, and what it does is it increases your natural levels of this fullness hormone. It makes you feel full. So it reduces your overall appetite, and it worked wonders for me when I was trying to lose weight. I lost almost, I want to say, 10 kgs within 6 months.
Wow, that's
using
amazing.
Sculpt. And I think the trick there is to find something that is plant-based that you can include in your overall regime that is not going to harm your hormones, as I've said before. The other thing that really helped me was combining that with just lifestyle changes, right? So
Absolutely. You've got to take care of your diet.
Exactly. For me, intermittent fasting worked really well. I wouldn't recommend it to every woman, but it's something that you can try, play around with. Working out, I started taking tennis lessons because I don't necessarily love just going to the gym all the time. So it's definitely a struggle, and for me, the weight loss piece I would attribute a lot to having our supplement. It's also rounded out because it's not just on weight loss. So it also gives you green tea and inulin, prebiotics. So it's taking care of your overall gut health. It's taking care of your mental health levels. Green tea is very good for that as well. For hair fall, also I was taking a different supplement, which I mentioned earlier. And then I realized that the biotin levels were really out of whack. And then I started taking our own hair fall supplement, which I made for us. And my hair's mostly back, touch wood.
It's looking fat.
Yeah, mostly back, thank God. But I think, yeah, like the biggest thing here is, even you recognizing that this is something that you want to work on and change. I've seen a lot of women just put their health on the back burner once they've had a kid. It's like, this is life. This is how I'm going to look and feel for the rest of my life.
There's so much going on that I kind of like, I don't think it's the right thing to do, but it can happen very easily.
Yeah.
You can fall off that wagon very, very easily.
You fall off the wagon, and I think for a lot of women, they stop thinking about this as an area of investment, right? You end up ignoring your health for such a long time. I think we're all wary of buying things online and, health.
It is, that's true. Because,
should I buy this? Should I not buy
because
this?
It's become such a big, I don't know, I feel like it's become too big a market. It's very gimmicky also sometimes.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's right and what's wrong and what you should
100%.
take. And especially when you're putting something in your body. You
How do you trust it?
How do you
Trust is a
trust?
big factor.
It's a huge element, and I used to feel exactly the same way, right? It's a huge market. Everybody is trying to talk to you and has their own point of view. It's important to find somebody who's making things for your body, right? So in our case, literally everything we're making is for women. It's not hormone disrupting. It's clean. It's gluten-free, lactose-free, no artificial sugars, no artificial ingredients. I mean, we've taken it to the next step where even in terms of the format that we use, right? We make very simple tablets or capsules. We don't make gummies. We don't make melts. We don't make any of these things that have additional sugar or coloring or any of this other stuff, because I wouldn't have it, right? If I wouldn't put this colorful little sugary gummy in my mouth, or this random looking powder in my mouth, why should I give that to other women?
Absolutely.
But the biggest thing is, recognizing that this is something you should invest in early on, because with health, it's like financial health as well, right? Financial health and health. It's the same thing. You have to invest early enough and you'll see the returns later in life, and you'll be so thankful you did that. Any money that you try to save in your 20s on health, right, where you're like, oh, I won't do this because I'm okay, I'm feeling fine now. Anything that you try to keep in your pocket, unfortunately,
You're going to have to shell it out in your
you're gonna have to
30s.
shell it out. Yeah,
More.
Yeah, you either spend on your health now, or you spend 5x of that later when you're trying to do your IVF, or PCOS causes heart disease. It causes cancer. It causes
Diabetes as
diabetes. Yeah, so you're going to be suffering from this later in life. So you might as well just take care of it right now.
How I wish I had my metabolism at 20. But I have a question on PCOS. A lot of the first instinct of a gynecologist or in general doctors, I guess, is to put you on birth control pills. Your periods are not regular, you put this woman on birth control pills, periods will be regular. What does that do to our body? And like I remember I was on birth control pills for just 3 months because of
Fibroid or
fibroid or cyst. I don't even remember what it was exactly, but it was very tiny, and my gynac put me on birth control pills for 3 months. I put on so much weight. I had hair loss. I was snappy and irritable, and yeah, sure, it kind of fixed the issue. But after that, when I was told to stop, my body took a while to get back its own cycle. It took about 6 months after that to be okay, periods to be regular, my hunger to be regular, all of that. So what does it do exactly to our body?
So, birth control pills are a very interesting topic by themselves. There's definitely a lot of misinformation about them because people are worried. I mean, they're called birth control, right? It's a very scary
Yeah, big
brand.
term.
Yeah, but the first worry is that if I take this for a couple of months, will I ever be able to conceive a child after
Exactly.
that was the biggest worry when I had to go on these pills once for some issue.
100%. And the fact is that their birth control pills are basically hormone controlling pills, right? They are meant to bring some of your hormones back into the balance that they were supposed to have. So with women with PCOS, for example, they're recommended birth control so often because in many cases they've not had their periods for just months and months on
Yeah.
end. If you're a woman who's not had her period, even if you've missed your period even once, that's
It
a
drives you-
really bad sign.
Yeah.
It's
Drives
a
you
Mentally, I think
insane.
it drives me insane.
Drives
I
you
hate having my
insane.
period, but when I don't get it,
when you don't
I'm
have
like, oh my
it.
god, what has happened?
Exactly. Because period health is the first indicator that your overall body is functioning
Is
fine.
okay.
We have some patients who come to us who've not had periods for more than a month, and we get so worried for them that how were you waiting for this long?
Yeah.
Even 1 month you miss your period, you have to sound the red alert.
Here 3-4 days आगे पीछे हो जाता है, and I'm like, what is going on?
Exactly. So birth control pills will help you get that period because if you haven't had your periods for a very long time, that tissue hangs out there and can become cancerous also. I mean, that's a very extreme scenario, but it's really not good for you. So it helps bring that cycle back on track, but at some point you do have to stop it. And this is where I think, a lot of people who are prescribed birth control pills, they're not clearly explained why are you taking this? What does birth control do to your body? How should you stop it whenever you're
Wean
supposed to
off of
stop
it,
it?
yeah.
Most women I know will just stop taking it on their own without ever going back to the doctor,
Yeah.
which is also very harmful.
Yeah.
And I think there are also cases where the type of birth control pill you're taking can have negative reactions in your body, right? Like in your case, you gained weight, you had hair fall.
Because most people lose weight on birth control pills.
Some people lose weight. This is an important thing to share with your doctor because there are multiple types of birth control pills with different levels of those hormones. So maybe you will react better to a different birth
Something
control
else.
pill, right? So the solution isn't to villainize it altogether, but the solution is to be in touch with your doctor and figure out together what is the right solution for you, and also make
Understand
sure
it.
that you have a plan to come off it at some point. You're not going to want to take birth control for the rest of your life. And unfortunately a lot of women are not clearly explained this, and they just will stop it on their own and go through a lot of these negative consequences.
100%. So through your journey, when you started Veera and all your research and everything behind it, tell us something shocking that you've kind of uncovered. Give me the good stuff. Come on.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of shocking stories I can share. I think the biggest thing here is that a lot of people say women's health is complex. Women's health is not complex, it's just under-researched.
Okay.
People just haven't done the work to understand our bodies.
If I'm not wrong, I read somewhere that women having heart attacks have been, like, the research on that has begun like 10 years ago. And even a kind of stomach if you're not okay, if you're feeling nauseated, or if you're just not okay gut wise, that can lead to a heart attack in women, and that could be a symptom.
I recently made a video about this as well, which I think shocked a lot of people. But in India, heart attack is the number one cause for deaths among women.
Yes, I've heard that.
You always think about heart attack as being a very male thing, that oh, women ko to heart attack hota hi nahi hai.
Correct. नहीं होता. And वो heart attack होता तो you clutch your hand and like left hand, na? Sorry, not right. Left hand and like you're sweating and this is how the heart attack happens.
The crazy thing is that the symptoms of heart attack are also different in
Very
women.
different.
For a lot of women, it can just be a stomach ache, right? And they don't realize they're having a heart attack because the research isn't done, the education isn't done. The crazier part is women with hormonal issues like PCOS have double the risk of having a heart attack.
Wow.
This is shocking, and very few people know this. The average age of heart attacks in women who are dying of heart attacks, is 59. That's the average age.
So that means so many younger women in probably the 30s, 40s
Are randomly having heart attacks and
Yeah.
dying, and nobody knows what's going on.
Wow.
Can you imagine this?
That's crazy.
So that's one of the many shocking things. One other really shocking thing that that happened, where you realize that not everybody in the healthcare industry is working for your benefit. Everyone's incentives are different, right? There was a senior doctor who works with us with our patients, senior gynecologist, and she was telling another senior gynac who's literally in some of the most senior gynecological bodies of India. She was telling him that, hey, why don't you send some of your PCOS patients over to Veera Health, because Veera Health does PCOS, they're very good at it. And this guy had an IVF practice. Eventually most gynecologists end up starting their IVF practice. And this is a very one-off story. Most doctors we work with are amazing empathetic people. This specific gynac though
don't tell me.
he told her, why would I send my PCOS patients to you right
When
now
I want them to
when
come to
I
me?
can just wait for a little bit and then they come to me for IVF?
Oh my god. That's terrible.
This is a senior gynecologist with an IVF practice thinking this way.
Insane.
So again and again, I tell women that you are the only one who's looking out for your health, and anything that you're trying to skimp on right now, if you
Don't
could
do
take a couple of supplements and be healthier and prioritize your wellness now, just do it.
Do it, yeah.
Because everybody is waiting for something to go wrong. Everybody is waiting for you to come to their IVF practice. Everyone's waiting for you to come to the hospital for diabetes or heart disease or one of these things, and you're gonna have to shell that money out anyways.
Oh my god.
It's really scary.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Very
it's scary.
Very scary.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
And if the research on these things has just started, imagine what has been happening for so many decades, right? Our health was never the priority.
Never.
And we're
Exactly.
supposed to keep everybody else's health a priority, and the woman of the house
Yeah.
takes care of everybody else. How do we do that if we don't take care of ourselves?
This is the thing to realize. Even I have found this with my family and, managing my own company and having a kid at the same time, that when I am feeling low and I am sick or, exhausted or anxious, I am not a good mother.
Yeah.
I'm not a good wife.
Yeah.
I'm not a good daughter.
Absolutely.
I'm screaming at everyone.
I couldn't agree more. I had one of those just last week. I believe we rescheduled because I was really sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was like burnt out, and I didn't move from my bed for 2 days. And I don't remember the last time this ever happened to me, because I usually don't fall sick very often, touch wood, but this time I was straight 48 hours. I had to literally request my dad to take my son for 2 days, and I was like, just keep him with you, because I'm really not a nice person to be around right now.
Yeah, she was telling me, she's
Exactly.
like, I don't fall sick often, but when I do, I'm a really horrible sick person. I'm very cranky. Please don't be around me.
As you would be. I mean, what are you expecting from your body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, I think, we're also like really unproductive at work, right?
Yeah,
Work is an important
absolutely.
part of our lives. I was finding that I was literally having these entire days of just feeling exhausted the second I woke up.
Oh, damn.
And I was thinking to myself, why am I feeling tired when I just woke up? It's the
Yeah.
start of the day. I should be ready to start my day, be productive. So that's when we also started creating Bliss, which is our sleep supplement. It's our sleep and stress supplement.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing because it combines the best of the latest Western science with, Indian herbal secrets that we've known for a long time, right? Bliss has something called lactium, which is this really magical ingredient. It's a milk peptide, which was originally patented in France. And what it does is it helps you relax before going to sleep and get a much deeper sleep.
Nice.
And this is why a lot of our parents still have a glass
Of milk
Yeah,
before
before
sleep.
going to
Yes.
sleep.
Healthy doodh.
Exactly.
It makes sense now.
So lactium is taking the best part of that milk without any of the lactose, because so
Right.
many of us are also lactose intolerant.
intolerant.
It combines it with melatonin and green tea, which is also known to relax you. And I've been taking that for 3 months and I feel amazing. I'm ready to start my day. I'm feeling alert. I'm feeling productive. Now, if somebody can take something so small as a supplement and be present for their work, be present for their family, why wouldn't you just go
And
ahead
just
and
feel
do it?
better yourself, right?
Exactly.
I mean, being present is one thing, but if you're not feeling good about it, then
Yeah.
you're feeling good at the same time.
Yeah,
So
and
that's amazing.
And it's so funny because, like you said earlier, that melatonin, some of them have the 4 times the suggested dosage for women. And I have tried melatonin, one of those sugary
Gummies,
yeah.
from
Oh, yeah,
America.
yeah, you
Yes,
went through that phase, I remember.
So, and it was from America. Somebody, it's like my mama had sent it and everything. This beautiful sugary gummy tasted amazing. It was like a little piece of chocolate at night.
Right.
But I used to wake up so groggy, still not rested well. I was in the middle of the night, I used to kind of be awake and be like, I want a sip of water, but I can't move my body. And it was
That's really scary.
Yeah.
It was not nice. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
So then I obviously stopped. I did not take it more often. But I had this habit of, if I'm unwell, I will take it. So I'll just knock off for 12 hours straight. But then I realized that's not healthy. So I was shut up, stop doing that.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense because it was not meant for my body, because that dosage was
dosage
not
wasn't
correct.
meant.
The dosage wasn't correct. The other problem with sleep supplements is that they only focus on the sleep part of it, right?
not the-
So they just have melatonin. So you're sleeping, but then what's happening during the day?
Yeah.
So with Bliss, we added green tea and we added lactium to it so that even during the day you're feeling alert.
Yeah.
So green tea increases alpha waves in your brain, which helps you feel calm, alert during the day also. So you're waking up in an alert
Fresh.
state, not in a groggy, oh my God, I still want to sleep state. So that's the other thing you should look for, right? Like for women.
Recovery.
Yeah, for women, combining these two and knowing that what you do during the night is going to affect what happens during the day is also very critical in the supplement that you're taking.
Yeah.
So, Shashwata, if I were to get my hands on your products, how can I do that? Are they available in retail shops? Do I have to order them online? How does it work?
You can go on our website, veerahealth.com. We ship globally. So we have tons and tons of customers from the US, UK, Australia, UAE as well who are buying this. And you can check out some of our recently launched products. This is Bliss that I was telling you guys about.
The one that
which
will help me
helps you.
sleep.
Yeah,
I
it'll help
need
you
it.
sleep. You'll have the most productive day of your life because you're feeling so focused and alert. You can also check out V-Vital PCOS support. This is really amazing for weight loss and overall treatment of PCOS symptoms. It's very good for regularizing your periods and for fertility. But I also have started taking it just as a multivitamin.
Right. So, even if you don't have PCOS, you can still go ahead and take this.
Exactly. So I've been taking it as a multivitamin. It has D3, B12, folate. Myo-inositol, which is the key ingredient here, is really good for helping balance your insulin and sugar levels, which is very good for women of all ages. And it's super simple. You just mix it into a glass of water. It's this really yummy, delicious orange flavor. And the reason this is the only powder that we have is because we want you guys to take it. We realize that this is the only way to make it convenient. You can carry it with you. You can have it when you're in the office. You just need to take it once a day.
And it's all natural. It's not like anything that's, if I stop taking it, it's not going to cause weight gain and suddenly make me a different person.
Yeah, it's completely natural. It has the right level of each of these ingredients that are correct for women. And, once you start it, you should take it for at least 3 to 6 months
That's
to
what I was
see
going
the
to ask.
impact.
How long should I continue taking this for?
You should try to take all supplements that you start for at least 3 to 6 months to really see the impact of it. With our supplements, everything is plant-based or naturally sourced, and it's gluten-free, lactose-free. It has no side effects. So you don't have to worry about combining it with something else.
Okay. Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. So now that you've ventured out into products, Are you looking to maybe in the future have an offline presence as well?
100%. I mean, in the future, we would love to expand into having our own Veera Health clinics. I mean, there's so much
That'd be
exciting stuff
amazing.
that we can
So
do.
fun.
For now, we're completely online, and we found that through our app and through our website, we're able to give people a lot of that high engagement. We're always in touch with them. Any questions they have, our doctors are ready to answer. This is our doctors are just some of the most expert doctors in reproductive and hormonal health in the country and in the world. Our lead advisor of our team is Dr. Dokris, who's based out of the US. She's an MD, PhD from UPenn. She's literally written the international evidence-based guidelines for PCOS.
Oh, wow.
So, she's defining all of our protocols. We make a lot of our supplements are formulated in collaboration with these doctors. So the online model has worked extremely well for us, and this has really contributed to those results published in American journals. But in the future, retail would be obviously amazing.
Nice. And backtracking a little bit, now that you're already here and you've launched these products and everything, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah.
And about fundraising, because we've had a few guests over here who were from the tank. So we've had lots of conversations around fundraising. How was that? How was that journey? So yeah, tell us.
Yeah. I think biggest challenge in health and wellness in general is lack of awareness, right? So that's something you're constantly trying to put as much education and awareness out there as possible. When we first started, most investors that we talked to did not even know what PCOS was, right?
What do you say?
I mean, why would they? You think about it. Like, women generally don't talk about these issues.
And most investors
And most
tend to be
investors are men.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
So we would have to explain it to them. We'd have to make it. We'd have to say, look, it's a lot like diabetes, which is it. Which it is. It is a chronic condition. It's because of insulin insensitivity. You can manage the symptoms, but it never really goes away. So I think that awareness level was always a problem. Now, of course, we have celebrities who've talked about us.
Yeah.
Masoom Meenawala, Deepa Khosla, Anshula Kapoor has been on our program, and these guys are fans of us. But that takes time, right?
Yeah.
It takes time for the product to start speaking for itself, and for you to start creating that awareness. So that was definitely a big challenge. On the fundraising piece, we were part of the Y Combinator Accelerator program, which was amazingly helpful for us. Y Combinator is now very, very famous. They're based out of the Bay Area. They funded your Airbnbs, your Stripe, Zepto, right?
Yes.
They were the initial incubator where these guys were. And we got a lot out of that. So I think for first-time founders, I would highly recommend trying an incubator program, because it's really like a crash course on everything related to startups. I mean, I did my MBA from Wharton, and I still think that starting my
helped.
own company was a big step away from what I had learned. You know, I was at McKinsey for 3 years. I was an engagement manager, and still, when you start your own company, you really need some level of support for you to understand what it's going to take. With Y Combinator, what was also really good is that they have this thing called Demo Day, where after 3 months of the program, you're presenting to thousands of investors around the world.
Wow.
And that's a great connect for you to have, right? Like you've taken all of the progress that you've made, and through
showcased
the YC label, you're able to showcase it. And that made fundraising much easier for us than I think if we had tried to do it without the Y Combinator program.
Right.
So that's one big recommendation. I think for folks who may not want to be in an incubator or aren't looking for that right now, the best way to start fundraising is to reach out to people who are founders who've been funded by the investor that you're interested in, right? So look for investors that understand your area. If you're a healthcare company or if you're a financial services company, try to find investors that have invested in those areas, because then they understand that area.
Yeah.
And then get introductions from other founders that have been funded by those guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
What are you excited about, let's say, in the next 5 to 10 years in the women's healthcare space?
Women's healthcare is just so exciting, because where half the population, women actually make 70% of any family's healthcare decisions, which a lot of people don't realize, because we are behind the scenes, but we're there. So health and wellness just will have to get earlier and earlier, right? thinking about health and wellness once you're, diabetic or have high BP or one of these
too late
chronic
already.
issues, you've missed the station now. You're that
It's already too
station,
late,
it's
yeah.
already a little late. So I'm really excited to see how wellness can become something that is a more day-to-day part of what you think about, right? Like every day, I tell this to people, every day 20% of your time needs to be spent on thinking about how do I improve my wellness today? Do I need to go meditate? Can I do a half an hour workout? Am I having my supplements? And really incorporate supplementation into your diet. As Indian women, we don't get the nutrients that we need from our
Definitely,
diet
we don't.
really
at
don't.
all.
We definitely don't.
It's very carb heavy. It's, very less on
Absolutely.
protein.
And like vegetarians, again, less on protein. carb
Vegetarians
heavy.
don't get their vitamin Bs, their omega 3s. So I really think supplementation is 100% the way to go. And you don't have to go crazy with it, but starting small and adding these nutrients to your diet is very, very critical.
Right.
Yeah. And there's this really fun thing that lots of people say that, oh, India mein to itna sun milta hai. Why do I need D3? I said, oh my God.
How much time do we really spend in the sun, but to be honest?
Exactly. We're just going from
Car,
inside.
car to indoors, indoors to car. And
Yeah.
like, how much sun are you going to get in the car? And most of that sunlight that we get is that afternoon dirty sunlight, which
Yeah.
I don't think is doing any good for my body.
Yeah, it's funny how there's all these preconceived notions about, I was talking to somebody who lives in Delhi, and I think now everybody's talking always during the season, everyone's talking about the pollution in Delhi.
Oh God.
And this person was like, अरे इससे तो immunity बढ़ती है तो ठीक है कोई बात नहीं.
What do you mean?
And this is the kind of attitude that a lot of people have about
But
health and wellness.
unfortunately, Shashwata, I feel like even a lot of doctors have this attitude when it comes to PCOS. Because, the most common thing that they'll tell you is work out, do exercise, eat right.
Give you these
But, like,
platitudes.
you
Like,
probably,
this is
yeah,
what
you
should
know
be done.
this, you know this, and you're probably even like trying
Doing
to
it,
implement
yes.
this, but you're still struggling. It's really sad.
It's unfortunately it's one thing to know what you're supposed to do and another thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're actually that you should be eating healthy and working out, but is there somebody to support you on that journey?
Yeah.
Is there somebody to supplement, whatever your diet you're on? So I think everybody needs to get that level of I actually think healthcare should be a very important topic in schools and colleges.
I really
100%.
feel like if I were more conscious about my health as a teenager,
We'd
maybe
be better
in
now.
my like late teens and through my 20s, I think I'd be much better off right now.
Yeah. Why aren't they teaching us about nutrition in school? Why aren't they teaching you that, these are the nutrients you need to have? This is how to make your
Just
own.
like how they're not teaching you about finance in school.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. This is just kept away as a secret,
Yeah.
locked away knowledge. And by the time you decide that you need to learn about it, it's a little late in the game.
Yeah. And like suddenly you have your first job, your first salary. Now they're like, here's Form 16, fill your taxes. You're like, what? Nobody taught me
What
about
is
this.
Form 16?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. I mean, financial education is another really, really big piece that having worked in financial services myself at Goldman Sachs, it's amazing that we're not taught this earlier on. How to save your money, how to invest it, what is real estate, what are some different asset classes.
Nothing.
Some
Nothing.
basics.
You're just thrown in the deep end when you
Yeah.
start earning money and then you have to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
And most often than not, you end up spending all of it.
Exactly. And with nutrition, it's a very similar picture where we could have just been taught about how to cook healthy food in school, for example, right? How much oil to use? Should you use ghee or butter? Like basic things like these. Unfortunately, we're still being taught the food pyramid, which is a very outdated understanding of nutrition.
Yeah.
Where that bottom pyramid is carbs.
Yeah.
No, you should not be having that many
Carbs.
So I think these are very important skill sets which hopefully over time, and with internet and social media, everybody is becoming a lot more aware about what
Yeah.
they need to be doing earlier
At least
on.
we're having these conversations, guys,
Yeah.
where, we're starting to talk about financial education, nutrition, all of this. And then you guys will teach your kids. Do it right.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Shashwata, I'm sure your background in the finance field helps you, but how do you manage your company money and how do you manage your own personal wealth?
So I'm an extremely frugal person, having worked in financial services. Very frugal, both with company money and with personal finances. I think talking about the company first, we've put a lot of thought into hiring decisions and marketing decisions. This is where most companies will end up burning a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Hiring super senior talent that doesn't end up performing. You waste a lot of time, you waste a lot of money. Or just going crazy with spending on marketing even before you have your product fully fleshed out. So we've been very careful to contain that. Because at the seed stage, a startup really is, you have a thesis in mind, you're just exploring how to solve it. So until you're like a scientist, basically, right? Like, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. I'm going to have to try different things to get there. So I need to save my money so I can like try those different things, right? Even for us, early on, we went through that journey of, okay, should we try an app-based program? All right, this is working really well, but now let's also try supplements that go a little earlier in the journey. So you need to conserve that company money until you have that, hardcore belief that, yes, all right, supplements, this is where we want to focus. Let's
Go all out.
put the pedal to the metal. So yeah, I think company money, I would highly recommend being frugal. And I would also recommend being very responsible about how you're treating company money, right? We have so many cases now in the news.
Oh my.
Some really big companies in ed tech and other industries where people were just straight up cheating, right?
Yeah.
Or lying about what it is that they were doing, selling their products to a related company and buying back and all of these things. It takes a lifetime to build up reputation
And a second to just...
and a second
wipe
to
it out.
completely mess it up. So, I think in India, there's a lot of this like jugaad and like, we're going to do what it takes and we're going to go all out. That's good, but to a certain extent, you have to make sure that at every step you are an ethical person.
Yeah.
My parents always say that, if it cannot be published on the front page of Times of India,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Oh, that's a great one.
Right? So I think like just live your life ethically. We also have so many employees at Veera where it would be easy to take some shortcut and do something stupid.
How big is your team, if I may ask?
We're about 50 people.
Wow.
We're still on the smaller side,
No,
but
but-
yeah.
Good, 50 people.
Yeah,
is
we're
a
about
good
50
size.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of shortcuts you can take, but with money and with finances, you need to be ethical, you need to be transparent. So that's on the company side. And on the personal side, I am a big fan of, the stock market, real estate for something a little bit more stable. So you do need to have that, you need to be thinking about diversifying it, right? It can't all go into the stock market. I mean, in India, unfortunately, of course, after the budget, things have been a little up and down, but the Indian stock market has been insane.
Booming.
So
For the past 3 years, yeah.
exactly. So if you're not putting some portion of your wealth into the stock market, you really should learn about as many things as you can and start by investing in companies that you've already heard of, that
Yeah.
you already buy clothes from, right? Or buy like, supplements from, or just like companies that you understand. So I think stock market has been a big one for me, where I invest in both the US and in India. And then real estate has been very fun. So my husband also really enjoys real estate. It's a little bit more stable. And, you can kind of leverage yourself and, there's so many instruments now. There's a mortgage you can take and whatever else. But real estate is a good way to grow your wealth in a more stable manner. And, eventually you can rent it out and you can make positive cash flow on it as well. So I think those have been the two areas that we've, just for personal finances really
Focused on.
done a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's great.
This was such a good chat.
It really was. And I think we can let you go now. We will pick your brain again offline because this is a conversation that I think is endless.
Yeah.
I'd love to learn more about it. And thank you so much for telling us all about how we're doing everything wrong. But hopefully
But there is a way to fix it.
Yes.
There is a way to fix it. And don't forget, Veera Health is the one and only supplement company that is building exclusively for women.
Love it.
That's
So guys, all you
amazing.
women out there, please check out Veera Health. All the men, tell the women in your life about Veera Health. And thank you so much for taking out the time. This was really an amazing chat.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, Niyati and Saili, and I'm so glad we got to do this.
Same.
Thank you everybody for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.